Well, we have breaking news out of the NFL where the Jaguars have hired James Gladstone as their next general manager. He spent the past 8 seasons with the Rams organization, most recently working as the team's director of scouting strategy. Gladstone will replace Trent Baalke, who was fired after 4 years in Jacksonville and just 1 playoff appearance. The Jaguars, as we know, hold the 5th pick in this year's upcoming NFL draft and will certainly look to Gladstone to fill a number of key positions. Now, Shad Khan, the owner of the Jaguars, released this statement saying, quote, "We found James to be a class ahead and exceptional in every regard. Vision, new ideas, communication, chemistry, and a keen understanding of the league and our team. It's going to be fun watching James work with our football leadership team of Liam Cohen, Tony Baselli, and Tony Khan. But most of all, it will be rewarding. I am confident of that." For more on this, let's go ahead and welcome in our own Pete Prisco for more. Pete, it's great to see you. You know, all of the talk this offseason for Jacksonville was about the head coach and GM vacancy positions. Jacksonville, as we know, both have fired Doug Peterson and GM Trent Baalke. So how does this hire now of James Gladstone help the team? What does he bring to the table?
Well, it's a little bit off the grid, and when you look at their hirings, the head coach, young guy, now the general manager, young guy. These aren't traditional hires by any sense of the imagination, and so when you look at it, they had traditional guys. They had Trent Baalke in there, and they had Doug Peterson in there. They both came from organizations where they had success, and when they got to Jacksonville, it was a grade A failure. So why not go in a different direction? I have no problem with this. Everything and everybody I've talked to in the organization and around the league about Gladstone says he is one of the bright young minds in the NFL. And you'd sit here and you'd say, well, maybe he's one of those analytics guys, and because he's really smart when it comes to the draft and how to use analytics. But that's not the reality. He's really a football guy who also happens to be really smart and good at analytics. So I think the hire makes sense. Where did he come from? You know where he came from originally? He was the offensive coordinator in St. Louis on the high school team that Rams general manager Les Snead's son played on. That's how they found him. They were impressed with him. Les Snead became close to him. He hired him, brought him in as a guy who was kind of doing a lot of everything, and then he worked his way up and became the director of college scouting. So it's not a traditional way to get in the league, but like I always say, it's just football. If you're good at it, you're good at it.
So it sounds like to you, Pete, this is a hire that kind of makes sense. If you were to give a grade out there, what grade would you give this hire?
Well, I think from a non-traditional standpoint, I think it's an A. Now, again, I go into every situation saying we have no idea. We really don't. When you look at it on paper, some of the greatest GMs have failed in second stints. Some of these guys we thought were going to be great GMs have failed in their only stint. So we don't know. We have no idea. But from a traditional standpoint, you know, this would be everybody go, oh, well, why didn't I hire this guy? He's been around the league. He's done this. He's done that. They went, outside the box, which I like. And so from that standpoint, I give it an A. But as far as success, who knows? We have no idea.
Yeah, no idea at this moment, but we will soon find out, especially 9 weeks from now when the NFL draft gets underway from Lambeau Field. Gladstone, obviously, as we mentioned, will be leaned on heavily in order to build some of the key pieces around Trevor Lawrence. As I mentioned off the top, the Jags do have the 5th pick in the upcoming draft. What should they prioritize now that Gladstone is at the helm?
Get bigger and stronger and tougher. I think that's the #1 priority. And if you go back, he's been a director of college scouting with the Rams over the last 3 years. If you go back and look at their drafts over that time, remember they traded away a bunch of picks, won a Super Bowl, and so they had to draft really well. They found a lot of guys in the later rounds, Puka Nacua being one of them, Kyron Williams being another. They drafted the 2 Florida State defensive linemen last year, Jared Verse and Braden Fist, and they both did really good things. So I think when you look at the way the Rams have drafted, they were forced to draft well. They were forced to play a lot of younger players, and I think Gladstone's going to be in that same situation in Jacksonville. They have to replenish the offensive line. They have to get bigger and stronger and tougher, and in the middle of the defensive line, they have to get bigger and tougher. And if you're looking at it on paper, pick #5, if you're sitting there, Mason Graham might make sense, the defensive tackle out of Michigan. If Hunter is there, they also need a corner. He might make sense there as well. So I think they got a real opportunity. They have a lot of draft picks. picks. They have a lot of draft capital to really fix this team and do it in a hurry.
Yeah, Jags fans love hearing those names called out. Pete Prisco, always great to see you joining us here at CBS Sports HQ with the breaking news that the Jaguars have hired James Gladstone as their next general manager. Well, a reminder, you can get all the NFL news, highlights, scores. It's all here, CBS Sports HQ, and it's all free.